Get ready for your daily dose of marketing strategies and tactics from entrepreneurs with the guile and experience to help you find success in any marketing capacity. You're listening to Marketing School with your instructors, Neil Patel and Eric Su.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm your host, Eric Su.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about the complicated process of designing a lead nurturing, lead scoring, and a drip email campaign. So when you think about this, what you want to do, because this is a podcast, this needs to be visualized. So if you just Google marketing funnel, you'll be able to find the top two results are either from SingleGrain, which is mine, and then also Kissmetrics as well. And you should be able to find at least a high level kind of what a flow looks like for a lead nurturing campaign. So to keep things simple, I'll keep it kind of high level for what we do at SingleGrain. So when people opt in to our email list, let's say you opted in for a lead magnet, when you land on a thank you page, we're going to ask you a question. Okay, the question is, how big is your business? Is it above 3 million a year? Is it below 3 million a year? Or maybe you don't even have a business. But once you click on one of those, you're tagged inside of our email service provider, which is Drip. And then from there, we can figure out how we want to talk to you, right? People that don't have a business, maybe we're going to point them towards our courses. Or people that are below a certain threshold, maybe we want to continue to nurture them with content. But chances are, maybe they're not a fit for us, where we're probably going to refer them out to another agency that can do a better job of helping them. So it's all about the messaging. It's all about who you're talking to. The first thing I would recommend is when they opt into something, make sure you're trying to tag them in a certain way, or maybe you're tagging them in the first email, because I know that's something that Pat Flynn likes to do.
When you're setting up your leads flow, right, and you're asking them questions to get the right lead, if you ask people too many questions on one page, you'll get way too much drop off, in which people just feel overwhelmed and they're going to leave. So what you want to do is break down the whole process into roughly 3 pages. 2 at the very bare minimum. The first page could just be name and email, or just email. Second page, you can ask them a bit more personal information like company name, size, etc. The third page, that's where you want to dive in and get really into the details like budget, revenue, etc., phone number, right? By doing that, you'll get way more qualified leads, and you'll find that you get more people to go all the way to the end. And you'll figure out, all right, these are the people that we should be following up with. Then what we like doing on our end is we then take the best leads, and in our system, we also cross-reference it with tools and APIs like from, let's say, Alexa, because it'll tell us how popular websites are. We also go look at, let's say, LinkedIn, and then go pull the person's title and, company, etc., just to make sure that it's accurate. So that way we're not wasting reps' times. And then we know who to follow up with what with. For example, if someone is a VP level at Microsoft, we're not going to continually drip them. Instead, what we'll do is take that phone number and have someone call them right away. But if someone's really small, they get put into our nurture sequence, and then we just start sending them out emails to educate them. So then that way, when we're ready to sell them, they'll be ready as well.
And the next thing is talking about lead scoring. So, ideally, let's say you're in a sales organization, you're looking for people that are going to be qualified. Especially if you have sales development representatives, you're looking for, kind of sales qualified leads. You can call them marketing qualified leads too, whatever. Marketing qualified would be, these are qualified by your lead scoring system. And then SDR would be people that actually talk to these people and then they decide if they're qualified or not. So actually, I should back up a second.
Yeah, SDR, sales development rep, I believe.
Yeah, so SDR, sales development rep, but I'm going to back up a second and say for lead scoring, you're basically qualifying it from a marketing perspective. So in Drip or inside of Infusionsoft, you can use lead scoring to basically say, okay, if they've downloaded this resource, their score is going to go up by, X amount. Let's say, go up by 10 points out of, a couple hundred, right? Or if they visited, a couple times, or they've stayed on the site for X amount of time, then, their score is going to go up by a certain amount. The idea is that if you're setting a threshold, let's say your threshold is 100, once they pass that threshold, they've tipped that bucket, right? Then you're able to mark them as a marketing qualified lead, and then your sales development representatives can jump on it, right? And then you can probably set some kind of automation where these people will be your sales development reps will have a tool that calls these leads automatically. So you can get down to that level, but it is important to start figuring out which one of your leads are actually qualified, which one of them have basically triggered the events to actively, push them into the next cycle. So lead scoring, I mean, we do use it, and we use a host of other tools to kind of help supplement it too. But it's just another point of, nurturing and having a good marketing funnel.
The biggest mistake that I'm seeing right now is companies are collecting a lead. Could just be name and email, could be all the way to a phone number and revenue size and company size, etc. But the biggest mistake I'm seeing is people are just sending a sequence of emails. So even if you're tracking, like what Eric mentioned, did someone download something, did they not, and then you're adding it to the lead score, etc. You could be doing that. But what most companies are doing is they're saying, all right, once someone becomes a lead, I'm going to send them 3 blog posts, a case study, a PDF, and then 2 weeks from now, we're going to be ready to sell them. It doesn't really work that way. If the lead isn't engaged, if they're not the right size, the right client type, they're not going to be that likely to close. Then you're just going to be wasting your sales reps' times calling and trying to close them. If you're wasting their time and they're not generating any revenue, you're losing money because you have to pay that sales rep money, right? Sure, some of their salary is based on commission, but some of it's a flat base. So don't just send people through a sequence of campaigns and then call everyone who completes that sequence. You have to be tracking the actions that they're taking. Are they downloading PDFs? Are they actually viewing the webinars you're sending them to? Are they watching the case studies? Are they engaging? Are you making them do other things? So having them click a PDF to download it isn't enough. You need them to make more commitments. If you get them to put in more information, you get them to go somewhere and type in a chat when they're on a webinar. All of this makes them more engaged. When someone's more engaged, they're much more likely to buy. So don't just send people a series of 7 emails that get sent out to every single person, no matter who they are and what type of lead they are. Customize it to each individual person. Because if I send someone 3 emails and they don't open up any of them, I'm not going to keep sending them emails. It's useless, right? Instead, I'm going to put them in a re-engagement campaign and try to do something like send them a super casual subject line like, Eric, what's wrong? And then I may end up addressing it in the email. I'll be like, hey, Eric, I noticed that you haven't been opening up any of your emails. You first opted in trying to learn more about marketing. I would love to help you. You don't have to buy anything from me. Do you just have any questions or concerns? I don't mind just giving you some free tips. So if you can get people re-engaged, then you can put them back into the sequence. But the key is to get them engaged first.
I think Neil brings up a really good point, and Frank Kern actually does a good job of, you can watch some of his free webinars around setting up contingencies, and I think he has some of these on YouTube, but each and every person is different, right? They behave differently. You do yourself a good service by figuring out the different categories of people that are coming in, right? The different kinds of leads, right? Some might be completely unqualified, some might be looking for a specific service, and that way you can figure out how you want to tailor the messages and the sales process, because this is sales and marketing kind of working hand in hand here. That's how you're going to be able to map everything out. And this is part of strategy, right? You have to be able to plan everything out before you start going into all the tactical stuff. And funnels, they do look like they're daunting. You look at these charts on the internet and it looks like, it's too complex, right? When I look at it, it just makes my head want to explode. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of different people out there. You have to message them differently. And then, when you're able to talk to people differently in terms of what they've actually done, then they're going to respond to that, right? You can't just blanket everyone with the same message. So with that being said, that's it for this episode of Marketing School. We'll see you tomorrow.
This session of Marketing School has come to a close. Be sure to subscribe for more daily marketing strategies and tactics to help you find the success you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best daily content possible. We'll see you in class tomorrow, right here on Marketing School.